The day the entire internet turned orange. What I can teach your brand and your business and how to better connect with your customer. Let's do it. Hi, welcome back. My name is Ken Hughes. Today we're going to talk about contextual marketing, that moment where you get the right message to the right person at the right time in the right environment. Sounds kind of technical, but really what it is about making sure that your marketing communications and your connections with your customers are relevant. So context is about all the work that you do behind the scenes, and the relevance part is how the customer feels. They feel seen, heard, valued at the time. And the most easy example, I guess, of contextual marketing is location-based marketing. Here's a really great example I love from 2018 from Burger King's Whopper. They invented the Whopper Detour.
Burger King is trolling its fast food rival
with a promotion available through the Burger King mobile app.
Yeah, but there is a small catch.
So I saw this Burger King commercial where you could
get a Whopper for a penny.
Only if you open the app while you're at McDonald's.
They had geo-fenced all the 14,000 McDonald's all over the United States, and if you came within 600 meters of a McDonald's, you would unlock the 1 cent Whopper, and then you could drive to your local Burger King and get a Whopper. So this idea, this playful idea that they would disrupt people's journeys on the way to McDonald's and detour them towards Burger King, or they would just get more downloads of the app basically for this 1 cent playful piece. So that's location-based marketing, using your location, your geofence for kind of a positive aspect to customer connection. And in fact, I was working with an airline recently who were about to do this for their own app. So that means that when the passenger arrives at the airport on the day of travel, once they become within 500 meters of the airport, again, the geofencing kicks in, and the first thing that happens is the boarding card gets pushed to the top of your phone with the local information about the gate that you go. So basically what it means is a passenger, as you swing your legs out of the car, the next thing you need, the boarding card, to go to security, is fed to your phone. So this is a really good example of understanding where the customer is, what the customer needs, and how can we give them what they need at the time they need it. So a really good kind of frictionless customer experience. So location-based marketing is one good example of contextual marketing. The other one, which is really obvious for most people watching this, will be seasonal marketing. So a brand using the current season to kind of get some more traction, some more communication with their customer. This is a video from Scrub Daddy. So Scrub Daddy is a sponge. That's it. It's a commodity product, easily copyable, but they've got a great personality and a great social media game. And this rather creepy July 4th video shows the Scrub Daddy sponges all eating hot dogs. So, playing into the 4th of July and having something relevant to say on the day. And actually Heinz do a great job of this too. Every Halloween they change their packaging and they change their communications all around that kind of idea that ketchup is blood. And so they really lean into that season. And again, doing that is relevant to the time. When you open your social media feed or you see a campaign from a brand that's relevant to what's happening in your life as a customer, then you feel a little bit more connected to that brand than otherwise. So seasonality is a really, really good one. But the one I want to talk about, which is really kind of risen to the fore today in terms of brand relevance, is to do with linking into something cultural. So what's happening at the cultural moment in customers' lives and how we then as brands can step into that space and have some conversation with them. I think the meme culture is a really good example. So this summer, the big meme that went around all summer was the Coldplay astronomer affair meme, and every brand had a go. Ryanair immediately came out with, because Ryanair is a cheap, no frills airline, and they charge people for seats, and therefore they charge couples to sit together. And this wonderful tweet within hours of that thing going viral, Ryanair came out with, Ryanair and Coldplay splitting up couples. And then this wonderful example from IKEA, in their stores, again, within hours, mimicking the photograph and putting it out there online. And so lots of brands got involved in this play. And obviously you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful as a brand that you don't step over the moral line, that you need to be fast, needs to be humorous, needs to be relevant. But sometimes brands get that wrong. The brands step into the space of relevance thinking that they kind of can be there. But and Pride is a good example. The Pride parades all over the world. Like 20 years ago, very few corporate global brands would have aligned themselves with the LGBTQ+ community because they didn't feel that their values were aligned to the corporate brand values. And whereas now lots of global corporates are in the Pride parades all over the world. And the critics of that call it rainbow capitalism. Brands pushing their way into something that they now feel is relevant just for their own corporate capitalist gain. And so there's a lot of kind of dissatisfaction really with those brands appearing in the Pride parade. So you got to be careful as a brand to where you decide to lay your chips and where you decide to kind of step into from a contextual point of view. But the reason I want to talk about this month is because this month we had a masterclass many different brands all over the world to do with contextual marketing, with cultural relevance. And really the secret here is agility. The speed at which you respond to what's happening in the world really dictates the success of the campaign. So Taylor Swift has launched her 12th studio album. So on the 12th of August at 12:12, she loves numerology, a little sneak 15-second clip got released on social media of her on her partner Travis Kelce's podcast showing her new album that was about to drop. The cover was all blurred out, so we didn't see the album, and that 15 seconds was enough to cause Taylor mania and mayhem all over the world. All the Swifties thinking, oh my God, new album, what's going to happen? And then on her own website, she released this image, which was the album available for pre-launch and pre-order, but obviously you couldn't see the album cover, it was locked. But the color schemes were there, the sparkly green, sparkly orange and the green. Those two color schemes were obviously the color scheme of the album, and from there the floodgates opened. At the same time, these Spotify codes appeared all over US billboards, back to a playlist that she had curated, giving a little tease as to who was producing the album. But the whole point was the color scheme was out. Within 12 hours of that color scheme being released on social media, and obviously she dropped the album later on when the podcast episode dropped a day after. The Life of the Showgirl is the new album title. So now the brands knew the color scheme, the name of the album. The brands that first responded win. So in terms of contextual marketing, this is about speed. So we had brands like Sharpie coming out with their own versions. We had Dunkin' Donuts, we had McDonald's, we had M&M's, we had the Empire State Building turning itself orange, we had Crumble. There's so many brands that suddenly rushed in to the social media space to show their brand in the new Taylor Swift color schemes. And you might be thinking, well, why? What's the point? The point is Taylor Swift is one of the biggest brands in the world at the moment, and so whatever she does becomes culturally significant news. And into that cultural significant news as a brand, if you step and have some play, you then get some distance and some viral sharing and some storytelling and some conversational economy out of that moment. So it doesn't work, of course, a week later or 2 weeks later. If a brand does it today now, 7 days after that's happened, it's not relevant anymore, is it? It's got to be at the moment, like in that 12, 24 hours, the marketing teams, the social media teams that responded to that with that speed and agility and quirkiness and humor, they win. They win that share. And we even had our friends at Scrub Daddy coming out within hours. They didn't even wait for the title of the album or the artwork, just taking that first visual feed of that orange and green padlock on her website. They came out with this really, really fast. And so this is the beauty of contextual marketing, and you need to ask yourself the question as a brand and business yourself, what are you doing right now to step into your customers' worlds and to be more relevant, to be more contextual? What's happening for their lives at the moment? You can look at the seasons, you can look at events in your particular industry, or you can get contextual about what's happening in their lives today, like right now, today in the news, in the world. How can you be more relevant as a brand? You can do it with humor, you can do it with relevance. It's really up to your imagination and your creativity, but the brands that do it and do it well gain better traction with your customers. Now, why am I talking about Taylor Swift? Well, I'm a big Swiftie, but also the book is out soon. It's over here resting very gently. Look, if you get a little teasy look. No, you don't. You don't get a teasy look because it's out soon. I'm not telling you the date it's out yet because it's a little bit of a tease. There's a clue somewhere in the frame here for those of you who are really good at numerology and cryptic clues and escape rooms. Have a look, pause the video if you can find the clue and if you can work out the date of the release of my book and send me a little DM on Instagram. Do you know what? I'll send you a prize. Until next time, I'm Ken Hughes.